It's been an exciting beginning to 2017, and after visiting Cape Town and Johannesburg, we are now in the beautiful Eastern Cape for round 3 of the Sasol GTC Championship. Hi, I'm Letsogo Zulu, and the East London Grand Prix circuit holds such a rich history of motorsport that dates back to the 1930s. It also saw us crowning our Sasol GTC champion right here in November last year. And since then, there's been lots of racing, lots of fierce rivalry. So let's take a look at all the action from 2017 with our series commentator, Richard Crail.
The second season of Sasol GTC has so far seen the championship's most fierce racing to date, and it all comes down to the two men who've dominated 2017. But that's nothing new, considering that reigning champion Michael Stephen and his biggest challenger for the #1 title, Gennaro Bonafide, have already had a decade-long battle through the South African motorsport ranks.
Gennaro and I go back quite a few years. We actually raced karts together. Classic memories, racing the World Finals. I think it was in 2007, and we finished 3rd and 4th respectively. We mates off the track. I'm a little bit older, so hopefully he respects me more. But when we're on track, we race hard, we race fair, and I think that's what adds to the entertainment and the fun factor of racing.
We've battled each other to the nail and tooth, to right till the end of every championship along the way, so we push each other. I never at one point say, oh, Michael's ahead of me, he must be cheating. It's more of, okay, he's doing it, that means I need to work on myself to lift each other up. And I think you saw that last year, throughout the season.
While disappointed to miss out on the 2016 title, Bonafide's 3 race wins over Stephen's 1 so far is as good a place as any to start in his quest to go one better this year.
Having never won a championship, I've come second like 7 times in a national championship, and I can't let off now. It's still long, as you say, long to go in the championship. Anything can happen, but we need to keep pushing every race and try and win as many as we can and be consistent.
Also entertaining the fans has been the ongoing rivalry between podium finishers Simon Moss from Engen Extreme and EPS Racing's Johan Faree. Even with the reverse grid race format making an appearance at this former F1 Grand Prix circuit, expect nothing less than them to be at the front again.
Me and Johan have been quite tight from Killarney, Kyalami as well, had some great battles. Besides that, this weekend hopefully I can get up to the top and have a battle with Mark. I think we'll be quite quick here.
Yeah, we had some hard battles in Cape Town and Kyalami as well, and quite enjoyed. But it always seems again like he had a little bit more power, so I can never challenge him really in the braking zones or be next to him. But yeah, it's been tough and it's been hard racing, but we're getting up to speed, so hopefully we can come closer to the front.
I think East London's going to be a little bit different because we've got the long straights, the faster cars coming through, then the slower cars will have a tow, and the tow will keep them in with the long straight. So I think it'll be an entertaining race.
So when it comes to the championship story, in GTC2 class, Volkswagen Motorsports Keegan Masters leads over Trevor Bland. But the game isn't over yet for Mandla Mdagane, who got his first race win of the year at Kyalami. In Sasol GTC, Gennaro Bonafide still leads over Engen Extreme Simon Moss, but after scoring his first race win of the season at Kyalami last month, Michael Stephen, our reigning champion, has finally got his title defense back on track. Michael, what a relief I'm sure it was to get that win.
Yeah, certainly. We had a very tough start to the year with a few technical gremlins, but to come away with a win in race 2 at Kyalami, that's where our championship begins, and really a big relief off the shoulders, but we're going to start winning a few more from now on.
Another challenge this year is your own teammate, Simon Moss, who happens to be your biggest rival.
Yeah, Simon, obviously we've been racing against each other for many years, so we've always been competitive on track, and I think we actually push each other further and faster. He's really come on song this year, and he's in the title chase. So, but we'll work together and we'll race hard on track and fair. I think you always give a little bit more room for your teammate, but at the end of the year we'll see what happens.
Well, we crowned you here last year as the GTC champion at the East London Grand Prix circuit. Let's go take a closer look at the track.
The East London Grand Prix circuit is certainly the fastest circuit in the country.
I love the fact that it's very fast. It really tests the driver's skill, it really tests our ability to keep the car under control.
And notoriously known for Potter's Pass, which is a corner taken at over 220 k's an hour. It separates the men from the boys.
It's obviously the fastest corner in South Africa. They say you need big manly parts to go through there, but we've seen some very fast ladies go through there as well, so it's extremely fast.
You then go down to Rifle Bend, which is another corner at over 240 k's an hour, And I think the trick on this circuit is it's a low downforce circuit, but you've also got two sharp hairpins at the end of both straights. The first one being Kogabana, down to 64 k's an hour, a right-hander.
Hard braking from 6th gear all the way down to first. Turn it and you power on and you exit out of there with some tremendous speed.
Then coming out of Kogabana, you've got another long stretch up to the complex. A very tricky infield section, bouncing a few curves.
Combination of right-handers, left-handers, very fast. So yeah, that's quite a nice section from a driver's point of view. It keeps you busy and on your toes.
The car needs to be dialed in to handle those bumps so that you can get flat out through there. And again, another long straight up to the final beacon corner. And again, from 220 k's an hour onto the brakes down to 60 k's an hour first gear to really get a good run so that you got a good time split all the way down the main straight.
When it came to qualifying, the Sasol GTC racing team was unable to fix Robbie Walk's BMW GTC in time after he went off in practice 3 and caused damage to his car. His teammate and current series leader, Gennaro Bonafide, struggled with pace and had to settle for 4th place behind Michael Stephen. EPS Racing's Johan Fourie was on track to seal pole position until a last lap blistering effort from Simon Moss saw him jump to the front with his first GTC pole position. Same for Brad Liebenberg in GTC 2, who claimed his first pole position ahead of Volkswagen's Mandla Mdagane.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm very happy. The whole weekend's been going well, been quick since practice 1, 2 and 3. Coming into qualifying, I saw I was about 4th at a stage and I just, my mechanic wasn't looking too happy. And then I came past and I checked, he's giving some emotion there, telling me to go, and I just carried on going. The car was getting better and better as the qualifying went, and thanks to the mechanics for putting a brilliant car together. I managed to just go quicker and quicker as the session went on. The light was getting dark and I was seeing less. But yeah, I'm very happy, and hopefully this is the first of many.
At the beginning of the season, we always knew it would take some time to get the car going, and we didn't really honestly expect it to come this quickly and so dominantly. I mean, qualifying on pole and being fastest through all 3 practice sessions, it's been a wonderful achievement. And yeah, well, we've been doing some good testing, and yeah, we basically got the car to where it can be quite fast. So we're looking forward to carrying on the development and hopefully getting a bit faster.
Well, it's a beautiful sunny day here in East London. It's 27 degrees. Now let's get straight into race 1 of the weekend with Richard Crail.
Thank you, Letseho, and welcome to Sasol GTC to you as well. Been looking forward to this round since the very start of the 2017 Championship. The amazing East London circuit, the home to the South African Grand Prix on 12 occasions, dating way back to the 1930s. There it is, just under 4Ks, 8 turns, and the highest average speed of any circuit on the Sasol GTC calendar. The big story, though, was from morning warm-up, Simon Moss, our pole sitter, off the road at high speed. And the whole Terry Moss N-Gen Extreme team was diving in to get the car fixed.
Simon, it's been quite an eventful morning for you. Tell us what happened during warm-up.
Yeah, well, going through warm-up, I had old tyres on, and it was just a shakedown basically for the race. I've already got pole, so I thought, let me try get in a slip and see how Potters is. If I get into a Dyson, I am behind the competitor. I went off, I didn't spin, but it ripped everything off under the car. I wasn't aware of that, obviously. I just smelled tyre rubbing and smoke. The mechanics have done a tremendous job to get my car ready. If it wasn't for them, I would be at no points, wouldn't even be on the grid. So even Volkswagen Motorsport got involved. Yeah, it was thanks to everyone.
Well, it's good to see you starting the race in pole position. All the best, good luck, and have a good one.
Perfect, thank you.
And he's been on the podium in every race so far in 2017, so getting him out was vitally important. So too this race. Simon Moss is on pole alongside Johan Fourie, with Michael Stephen and Gennaro Bonafide making up the second row. It's Daniel Rowe and Michael Van Rooyen, Matt Hodges and Robert Walk next, and in GTC2, Brad Liebenberg and Mandla Mdagane fill the front row, and the Signature Motorsport Minis have been very, very impressive. It will be a battle to watch. So the fastest circuit in the country awaits Sasol GTC for the 3rd weekend of the year. We're racing at East London, and that fast flat-out run to Potters Pass at turn 1. And it's the 2 black Audis looking really good. Watch for the defending champion in car 1 at the inside of Johan Fourie. He goes through. Michael Stephen gets a spot already. Simon Moss leads the field. Rifle Bend, 240 kilometres an hour. And now Stephen looking down the inside of his teammate into Copacabana. A clean start. And it's the Audis 1 and 2. The Volkswagen up to third place. A great start, Daniel Rowe. And was that Robbie Wolkoff in the BMW? A little bit wide on the exit. And this is a great run for the champion down the inside of his teammate. And in just a couple of corners, he's wrestled his way to the race lead. Hard and clean racing between the two Engen Extreme Audis. But Michael Stephen hits the front. Michael Van Rooyen now just in behind Johan Faree, who's dropped back a spot. Man from Cape Town has been so consistent this season. The narrow confines of East London, testing track limits on the exit of the sweep at turn 7 and down to Beacon Bend. The most critical corner on the circuit. You must get a good exit out of here for that long, long run and the slipstreaming battles down towards Potters Pass. So, Michael Stephen, what a great start. The number 11 Volkswagen, Daniel Rowe, running in third place. A very good start for him. He's just in front of the Sasol BMW of Gennaro Bonafide, who won the first 3 races of the season. Roll off the road. 240 k's an hour. Somehow he managed to hold on to it. He had a crash there. He just didn't hit anything. Extraordinary save. Johan Faree goes through and Gennaro Bonafide's got dramas. The championship leader's got problems. Smoke pouring from the left front corner of the Sasol BMW. Well, these are the moments that could define a championship. And after such an imperious start to the season, Bonafide is limping. And he's at the back of the GTC field. Hodges, car 57 in behind Van Rooyen. And there's Bonafide. He's going to have to go to pit lane and fix whatever damage there might be. So that was a busy little exchange there through Potters on the run down towards Rifle Bend. We saw a car off the road. The number 11 Volkswagen dropped a couple of wheels off. In fact, dropped all 4 wheels off. It was a wild moment. And I'm not sure Bonafide, in evasive action perhaps, might have run a little bit wide, a little bit further down at Copacabana. And yeah, wow, big moment. And a critical moment in the championship. Back to GTC 2, Bradley Liebenberg. He's running second at the moment behind Kversi Veyers in that Chevy Cruze. A couple of new additions to the GTC 2 field this weekend. But the Minis have been fast since practice, and what a season it's been for them. And confirmation, Bonafide going into pit lane. You can see Robert Walk doing the same. So not a great opening couple of laps for the Sasol BMW team. It has been a great couple of laps for the Engen Extreme Audis. And how about this battle? Van Rooyen under pressure. Hodges goes through. Had a good weekend at Cape Town, Matt Hodges. He was really fast there and ended up second in race 2. The reverse grid race, which thrilled us all. He's now battling Van Rooyen a little bit further back. There's Johan Faree, the king of consistency this year. In fact, he and Simon Moss have been the most consistent drivers in the field, just racking up the championship points. So out of Beacon Bend, and that run down the long front straight, Audis 1 and 2. And Michael Stevens just got a slight little margin now over his teammate, enough to break the toe as Walt gets out of pit lane. So he and championship leader Gennaro Bonafide will slot back into the field, but from here on in, damage limitation. If he can get out, grab some points in these 10-lap races, he'll be in business. Back to the battle at the front of GTC 2, and now the Mini looking to the outside. What a story it's been for Signature Motorsport this season. A remarkable fight back after that big round 1 crash. They rebuilt a car from scratch, having only built these cars in just a couple of weeks before the opening rounds. They've been developing, they've been getting faster with every round, and now they're really competitive. And they've liked East London since the first practice session. Car 12 looking on the outside. Let's go back to Keegan Masters, down the inside of his teammate Madla Matakani. So the 2 leaders going at it, and this is the battle for 3rd and 4th place. A bit of a wave to Mandler, who grabbed his first GTC 2 win last time out at Kyalami. Down the inside now, the Mini. It grabs the race lead, turning into turn 5, into what Michael Stephen called the complex, and wrestles the lead away from the Chevy Cruise. Oh, it's close too. Liebenberg holds on. Terrific battle right through the field. GTC 2 is getting better and better with every round. So here are the leaders. Everyone equally spaced apart now in Sasol GTC. Everyone just biding their time a little bit. It's Daniel Rowe. What a moment for him early on in this race. The GTC 2 champion from last year stepped up into the factory Volkswagen squad in Sasol GTC, and he's been very, very solid so far, getting up to speed in the top class, the premier class in South African motorsport. Speaking of premier, how's the talent at the front of Sasol GTC this year? It is so deep and so competitive, and this race proved that if you just step offline one moment, you're in trouble. We saw that in the warm-up this morning. Remarkable scenes, the Engen Extreme team diving on to car number 38 to try and get it fixed in time for this race. Even Terry Moss was in there swinging the hammers. Everyone lending in, even rival teams. That's the spirit within the paddock in this championship. The battle for the lead is back on. That new Chevy Cruise off the box has been very, very quick. And now it's a three-way fight between 3 manufacturers at the front. Big moment. Masters loses the rear and has a big, big slide through Cox's corner at turn 6, and he'll drop a huge amount of spots. So the championship leader coming into this weekend, 3 wins from 4 starts. He's plummeted down the order now. And this is on board with Van Rooyen. So like his teammate earlier, Hodges struggling to get the car through Potter's Pass and loses a spot. Entertaining battle between these two. This is the best performance, arguably, of the season for the privateer runner Michael Van Rooyen. The Rustenburg car going very nicely. A very entertaining battle. Status quo at the front though. The fight of the race is between the factory Volkswagen and the BMW just in behind. And here it is. So through this double apex, turn 5 and turn 6, it's a long sweeping corner, loaded, about 90 k's an hour through the apex. Then this third long stretch, they reach more than 220 k's an hour on 3 occasions at this amazing circuit. And Hodges looks and just has a go down into Beacon Bend. It's the best overtaking spot, and he has just proved that. Nice pass. Down the inside and gets the spot away from Van Rooyen. Right, back to GTC 2. Mini v Chevy at the front of the field. Liebenberg under pressure. The Chevy Cruise dives down the inside, and one of the Volkswagens a long way off down there, and it's Mandla Matakani. So winner last time out. It's not been the day for the factory Volkswagens, it must be said. He and Keegan Masters have both struck dramas. But what about this story for Signature Motorsport? An up and down start to their debut in GTC 2, graduating up from the Volkswagen Polo Cup. But man, they've been impressive. Great commitment, great presentation. Good to see Ferodo jumping on board and Champion. Great sponsorship and 2 young drivers who will go very, very far. Right, lap 8 of 10, this battle continues. Van Rooyen down the inside at Cocobana. And now it's a drag race, BMW v Volkswagen. Into the kink at turn 4 and then 5. It's flat out at 220k into the braking zone there, and Van Rooyen gets through again. Great battle, good pass. And that shows how difficult this place is. You've got to set your overtake up so far back before you actually get up the inside. Lots of slipstreaming, lots of wheel-to-wheel racing at this amazing East London Grand Prix circuit. Great to see that the future of this venue is secured for the long term. It's one of the most exciting tracks on the Sasol GTC calendar, mainly because it produces battles like this. Hodges now gets back down the inside. And Van Rooyen slowing. Oh, what a shame. It had been a great charge so far. He's had the 5th place result in the reverse grid race at Kyalami as a season best. And even though it looks like he's struck dramas in this one, I think this has been his best drive. of the year so far. So that Rustenburg Steel car can hold its head high going into race 2 later on today, and that amazing reverse grid format will return. Meanwhile, out in front, what a performance by this team. Michael Stephen fought back at Kyalami. Despite all the electronics failing on that car, he had to drive old school. Dashboard wasn't working. Managed to get the car home, grabbed his first win of the season. He's on the comeback trail from a championship point of view. He's got the job to do because Bonafini's been out in front, racking up the race wins, while Stevens had DNFs. And even his teammate Simon Moss in front, but it's been a really good comeback so far. Back to the fight in GTC 2, and now Mr. Excitement, Trevor Bland, who has just been a superstar this year in that privately entered Volkswagen, continues to entertain, and he pulls out. Good run, a little bit of a bump perhaps on the rundown beach straight, runs parallel to the ocean at this most scenic of circuits, and he moves himself to second place. So TB, who is marching up the championship order, has just got himself one more spot in this race as well. The thing I like about Trevor is you're always getting 110% you feel from watching him go car racing. And now out in front is Bradley Liebenberg. Second in the Polo Cup last year with Signature Motorsport, moved up with the team to GTC 2 this year with this mini program. And boy, it's about to pay dividends. So too for this man, Michael Stephen. His win at Kyalami wasn't without dramas. This one has been straightforward. He carved his way to the front with great cold tyre pace on the Dunlop Super Soft tyre, and it's been straightforward from there. His teammate in behind. It will be a 1-2 result for this extraordinary team. The defending champions of Sasol GTC are back, and they're back in a big way with a repaired car in second, and the defending champion taking the race victory, the first of 2 at the East London circuit today. What a drive. Michael Stephen the winner. Simon Moss second, and Johan Ferree will finish third and continue his very, very consistent start to this year's Sasol GTC Championship. Back to GTC 2, half a lap to run for them. And this will be a big, big moment. The first non-Volkswagen to win in the class this year if he can last half a lap for Brad Liebenberg. But the story's bigger than that. From everything this team has been through since the start of the year, developing brand new cars, fixing crashed cars, to the delight of the very big crowd here at East London, they're about to get their first victory in Sasol GTC. And the GTC 2 class is booming. This is an enormous result. Brad Liebenberg out of the final corner. Beacon Bend. This could be a beacon for the rest of the field. It's the first win for Mini in Sasol GTC. They're the GTC 2 winners in race 1 at East London. So what a race, what a result. A 1-2 for Michael Stephen and Simon Moss. Johan Ferree was third in front of Daniel Rowe. Gennaro Bonafini limped home to P6, but valuable points for him. And that will be a shot that the Mini team frame at their office. Liebenberg, Bland, and Quercy Veyers rounding out the top 3 on his GTC 2 debut.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that was a perfect race. Obviously, Simon had a few issues, you know, leading into the race. His car wasn't probably 100% prepared, but the mechanics did an absolutely great job just to get it out on track. But yeah, absolute brilliant result for the team, a 1-2, and looking forward to the second race. Lots of overtaking opportunity into Cocobana, into the final corner, into the complex. So I think race 2 is going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, I knew Mark was going to be quick right from the beginning. He got ahead of me, and then from there I just tried to maintain behind him and try to get away from the chasing pack. I knew it was going to be a tough race. Half of my front downforce we couldn't add on. There wasn't enough time to get the car ready. But I'm more than happy, and yeah, a very big thanks to the team. These points are actually theirs, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been out there.
Yeah, I'm very, very lost for words right now. You know, it wasn't a straightforward race, to be honest. And of course, he kept me honest, and I made a few mistakes, which we need to get rid of. And yeah, he obviously kept with me due to those mistakes. And eventually, I got a few clean laps in and managed to break away.
It was a good result. I'm happy with the result. Surprised, to be honest. I'm not quite on the pace. I'm struggling with the setup a little bit. But you know what? It's points, and I'm happy about that.
We are coming here as a privateer. I've only tested for a week before we came here. So yeah, thanks again to everybody that made it possible. And yeah, I think standing on a podium on our first race is very good. The car was good, the car's on rails, and I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, great to see Quercy Valles on the podium on his debut in GTC 2. What a victory too for the mini team, and some new faces on the podium, and a huge performance from Michael Stephen. A big one too for the Engen Extreme team in Sasol GTC. A break from East London. When we come back, we'll hear from Mandla Matakani. What a drive for Mandla Matakani. He's been yet to win in GTC 2, but this is a big day for South African motorsport. He wins his first race.
Mandla, congratulations on your first race win in GTC at Kyalami. How did it feel when you stood on that podium?
It was quite an amazing feeling. I mean, went through the whole of last year with a bit of difficulties, but we managed to come through second in the championship. But everyone knows as a racing driver, second is just not good enough, although it's a good result. But finally going through, it was a great race. The car felt amazing. I felt on song, and as soon as we crossed the finish line, it was just, I guess, the best feeling every racing driver wants, to just stand on that top step.
For those that don't know, you've been racing for roughly 20 years. Talk us through some of your highlights and how this particular win compares.
Yeah, I guess we've come a long way from karting. Spent a few years in Asia doing Formula BMW and Formula Masters, and finally came back to South Africa in the Sasol GTC Championship. It's good to be racing at home, and especially so early on in the season to start off with the win. I think we're on the right track for the rest of the season. Now,
you and Daniel pushed each other last year as teammates, but you didn't get that win. How do you think you've developed over the last 12 months?
Well, it was the inaugural year of the championship, and I guess it was new championship, new cars. I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot from the car, about the car as well. Just making the switch from single seaters to tin tops, I think I needed to make that switch, and I think everything I went through last year, all the hardships and the disappointing moments, I guess gathered me up for this year, and I've really put my head down, and it seems to be paying off.
Now this year there's a healthy rivalry between you and Keegan Masters, who steps up from Polo Cup. How do you see this season unfolding?
Keegan's really another good, quick driver. I've watched him, well, I've known him from karting, and he was quick in Polo Cup as well, and he's taken like a fish to water to the VW GTI. We've been pretty close, but I guess it's just been, the good thing, it's just been us at the front most of the time, with the VW brand keeping everyone else behind us. So I think it should be every event should be pretty close for the rest of the year, and I guess we're going to push each other to the end, which is, I guess, good for the both of us, and we keep learning from each other. So he's a fun teammate, and I think the rest of the year should be pretty good.
Mandla has been one of the great stories of the 2017 GTC 2 season. A terrific win at Kyalami. He's got the job to do here, though, in our race 2 for GTC 2, and it's a reverse grid affair, and these should be some pretty awesome highlights. Dane Angel in the Honda starts from pole position alongside Charles Smallberger. Behind them, Mandla Matakani and Keegan Masters. Ian Stevenson and Chris Shorter, Quercy Valles and Trevor Bland, then Brad Liebenberg, the winner off the back of the grid. So away we go, race 2 in GTC 2. A bigger field this weekend, some new names and faces, including that Honda of Dane Angel running down into turn 1. Potter's passed, and even in a GTC 2 car, it's a very, very fast corner. There's Liebenberg. Brilliant victory in race 1, the first for the Signature Motorsport Mini team. He's got the job to do to work his way through the field. Trevor Bland will need to do that. Chris Shorter is off the road. So one Mini going forward, the other going backwards. Down to Beacon Bend at the end of the first lap. And then this amazing flat out first corner at well over 200 k's an hour. Liebenberg starting his march forward. And there's Mr. Excitement, Trevor Bland. He was in the thick of the action again early on today. The 2 leaders a little bit wide. Down at Cochabana Corner, they're off the road. The whole field goes through, and we've got a new race leader. Well, you only need to go wide for one corner in GTC 2, and it might be the undoing of your day. A little bit of contact, Bland up the inside. Competitive racing, Liebenberg has already gone through. And now Bland dives down the inside at Beacon Bend and gets the spot. So he's working his way forward. This is terrific racing. Stevenson, that was, getting hustled back. But great to have him part of GTC 2. Great to see an expanded field and some new manufacturers involved as well. The Honda's a really good looking race car, and that Chevy Cruze, we saw it being very fast in race 1. So Smallberger putting the pressure on, but how about this drive from Liebenberg? He's making this look easy. He's up to 3rd already and hunting down the race leaders. So works his way past Percy Veyers and down towards Potter's Pass. So Keegan Masters in front. What a start to the season it's been for Keegan. And though race 1 here at this famous East London circuit didn't go well, he's got a very handy points lead coming into this weekend. Victories in both races at Killarney at round 1. Victory in race 1 at Kyalami. He was 3rd in the reverse grid race 2, just accumulating the points for this young gun in the factory Volkswagen. Here's the fight for the lead. Charles Smallberger applying the pressure. An outstanding 2nd in race 2 at Kyalami. The results starting to build in the Volkswagen Indy Oil car. Down towards turn 1. And now the back of the circuit. It's a 3-way battle. And the Mini is right in the mix. So we talked about in race 1 the story of this team about building these cars in a very short space of time before the opening round and then rebuilding one of them after that very big crash at Killarney. But Liebenberg is storming his way through the field. He's now P2 and Trevor Bland is going with him. He goes past Smallberger into the complex and gets himself further forward. And TB, who's been super consistent so far this year, is now in 3rd place. We have got ourselves a battle for the lead. Oh, well, dramas. The Chevy's got big damage on the rear corner. He's going to pit lane. There was contact with the Volkswagen driven by Mandla Matakani. And now it's on for the lead of the race. Final lap. GTC 2, Liebenberg on the outside at Cochabana corner. And Keegan Masters the points leader. He cannot do anything silly here. He's got to maintain his championship lead, but he drives Liebenberg across to the inside. He's right on the painted white line. This is the kind of thrilling racing we've been used to all season for GTC 2, and Liebenberg goes through. Great pass, great bit of racing between these two. It's Mini v Volkswagen. We've been waiting for this since that first race of the season at Killarney. And it's still on into the final corner. Liebenberg's got the racing line. Masters has to go the long way. The over-under doesn't work. And at the East London Grand Prix circuit, it's a double victory for Bradley Liebenberg. Signature Motorsport and the Ferodo Mini are on top in round 3 of GTC 2. 2 victories. What a performance. So Liebenberg, Masters, Bland on the podium. Smallberger fought his way to 4th place with Chris Shorter rounding out the top 5.
Thank you so much. I'm literally over the moon about this. I mean, coming from last now to win the race, I mean, it wasn't easy. I got lucky on the way. There were a few incidents where I managed to get past two, 3 cars at a time. So, you know, that got me to the front quicker. And yeah, then I just went in the hunt for Keegs, and he drove brilliantly at the end there to defend from me. But unfortunately, I pushed him a bit deep into Cochabana, and yeah, I managed to get the undercut on him and dragged him all the way to the complex and managed to get past.
The braking got a bit tricky towards the end. I mean, after doing 200 and close to 230 k's an hour, then the brakes don't seem to last too long. But yeah, I just managed the brakes, and yeah, congrats to the Mini, but we're not giving up, we're coming back.
Mr. Excitement will be in the mix all season long. Keegan Masters still leads the GTC 2 point score in front of Trevor Bland. Liebenberg, amazingly, is 3rd in the championship now. Going to our next race at Vartkops, he is right in the mix. Well, speaking of being right in the mix, Simon Moss is, and though his famous father has had a big role in South African motorsport, this young man is making his own name in season 2017. When your father is one of the most successful racers in South Africa, you can understand the added pressure to perform. However, Simon Moss, son of touring car great Terry Moss, is a multiple champion in his own right, with titles in karting, Formula Volkswagen, plus top rookie honours in Formula BMW Asia before embarking on production car racing. But despite being determined to create a name for himself, the 25-year-old is still the first to acknowledge all he's learnt from his famous father.
Yeah, obviously growing up I was aware that my father was a successful racing driver for Audi back in the day. When I was young, I think I was about 13 years old, he was still competing at that stage. So my father was never always there because he was obviously racing away a lot, but on the weekends when he was at home and available, he would take me to the track and we would be there every weekend, the whole day, Saturday, Sunday, put in a lot of time, and I think if it wasn't for all of that time, I wouldn't be where I was now today.
The problem we've always had with him is down-tuning him. He had it from the word go. He was always overdoing things. He was never really scared of anything. And hopefully now at this tender age, he'll start coming right, you know, and he's showing maturity. And I think the more mature he becomes, we can see it now in GTC, it's starting to pick up. He's got the pace.
While Simon currently leads the Engine Extreme team on points in 2017, he happily credits his closest rival and current teammate Michael Stephen for helping his racecraft development throughout his junior years on track.
Michael helped me a lot. He's actually been a very great mentor to me coming up through my karting, and people always think maybe I'm a little bit aggressive on track, but I think it comes from with the riding against Mike, him being the bigger guy, the older guy, and I was a bit young having to prove myself.
And it's that competitive spirit that's seen Simon step it up in 2017.
Actually, this year, to be quite honest, has been one of his better years. He's settled a little.
Coming into 2017, I feel a lot more hungry than ever. I'm in my comfort zone, and I feel like I can get more aggressive now and do what I need to do out on the track. Last year, I had a lot of issues, and I think this year is going to be a whole brand new year for me. As you can see, it started off great. We had good qualifying performances, and the race we've shown our pace, got great pace, fastest laps in races, and I think with a few rounds to go, I'm just getting stronger and stronger, and there's no reason why we can't be in the lead of the championship at the end of the season.
In front of a massive crowd here at the East London circuit. So good to see so many turn out. Let's go to the grid. Here's Lasejo with Gennaro Bonafide.
Gennaro, the first race didn't go as planned. Tell us about it.
Yeah, look, I just had a tough one. First lap going into Potters, I was behind one of the Volkswagens and I ran in a little bit wide, and I literally put one wheel off the tarmac onto the grass, and there was a big hole in the grass, and I damaged the front splitter, which then obviously damaged the front tire. I had to come in, get that fixed, and just circulate it. It's a pity.
Now with the reverse grid, you're right in front, so good luck with the race, eh?
Oh, thanks. Obviously the plan is to go, put our head down, do some quality laps and get a win.
Quality laps are what Gennaro's going to need to do out the front of this field. It's so fiercely competitive in Sasol GTC. In fact, in qualifying yesterday afternoon, the top 4 cars covered by just 0.2 of a second. Fiercely competitive stuff. Van Rooyen was supposed to start from pole in this one. The Rustenburg rocket unfortunately has withdrawn, so the bright yellow and green car will miss the start of this. So Robert Wald gets the front row to himself. Bonafide and Hodges alongside each other on row 2. We're ready for a start. It's a couple of BMWs at the front of the field. We're away and racing. And what will the reverse grid affair have to offer today at East London? There's the Volkswagen in behind. Walk on the outside to the unfavoured line through Potters Pass. Keep an eye on those 2 jet black Audis as well. On a beautiful afternoon here by the seaside. What a great time to see some racing. What a great time for a pass down the outside. That's enormous from Moss. Turned out it might have been a little bit too enormous. Went a little bit too deep there, but he took the brave pills on the opening lap, making up ground early, which you have to do in these reverse grid races. But it's Gennaro Bonafide leading car number 11, Daniel Rowe, in second place. He's been the leading light for the Volkswagen camp this weekend. The 2 Audis are next. There's Johan Ferree and Matt Hodges at the back of the Sasol GTC pack. So out of the sweep they come. It's turn 7. Another run up to just over 200 k's an hour. Big braking zone, down to 60 k's an hour for Beacon Corner. And on to the start-finish straight. 1 lap down, 9 to go. Bonafide the leader. And qualifying laps on these cold Dunlop Supersport tyres, the soft tyre, will be vital in this race. Build that margin, because you get the feeling there's a couple of Audis that are going to go BMW hunting as this race goes on. Here's a move, Moss down the inside. Good pass on the Volkswagen and gets it done. Just looks Sportmax Dunlop on the inside in the braking zone there. What it's going to do is allow Michael Stephen to go through as well. So it was a little bit wide there, Daniel Rowe, on the exit of Cochabana Corner, and it's going to cost him 2 spots. Moss went through on the way in, and the champion from last year goes past on the way out. Car number 1 is now up into 3rd place. And the crowd like it. You can hear the horns beeping as they go through the S's into turn 6, Cox's Corner, and then the run out through the sweep and down the back straight once again. So the pressure now on, and Bonafide might just cast one eye to his rear view mirror and see those pair of Engine Extreme cars going hunting BMWs. Gee, late under brakes into the final corner was Daniel Rowe, had the rear end of that Volkswagen Jetta waggling around as he locked the rear brakes. It's been a really good performance for Daniel so far this weekend. His results have been building as the season went on. Unfortunate DNF in race 2 at Kyalami, but he's been quick. His first time in the main game of GTC. Matt Hodges just at the back of this pack, trailing Johan Ferree, who'll look to make his way through the field as this race goes on. So far, so good. The fast guys have worked their way forward. Bonafide's held on from a championship point of view. This is exactly what we want to see. And it's still Simon Moss in front of his teammate. Michael Stephen now looks down the inside at Beacon, and that's a pretty straightforward move. I wonder if Moss just felt that his teammate was going to be a little bit quicker perhaps as the race went on. That damage, remember this morning, really set Simon Moss's day back. They lost a lot of front downforce from the front under tray of that car. And speaking of losing downforce, there might be a little bit of hindrance there to Robbie Walt's BMW. That side skirt flapping round. Race control will keep an eye on that. Hopefully it doesn't look like it's going to fly off at any stage and cause harm, because he might get a bad sportsmanship flag. They'll look at that. At the moment it looks okay. 3rd place on board, Simon Moss. And Michael Stephen now 2nd. He and Gennaro Bonafide, we profiled their long battle for prominence in South African motorsport. They've been racing wheel to wheel for a long time, right through production cars and now into Sasol GTC. But so far this season, we haven't seen that all-out battle between what have been arguably the 2 most successful guys in the championship. Last year's title winner and the guy that was 2nd. This could be the race we've been looking for. So the leader's just pulling away. It's condensing further back though. Matt Hodges closing on Johan Ferree, who's closing on Robert Walt. The second of those 2 Sasol BMW entries. 140 k's an hour on the exit of the sweep, building up to 200. Just over for the big stop into Beacon Bend. And there's no doubt that Michael Stephen is closing. There's Robert Walk. It's been a challenging year so far for Robert. He qualified 5th for the first 2 rounds of the championship. Results didn't go his way. A couple of DNFs at Kalani. Solid points finishes at Kyalami last time out. He'll be looking to build on that this weekend as the championship goes on. But it's a big learning curve. Brings a lot of experience from open wheel racing to the Sasol BMW team, headed up by Vic Maharaj, and great crew that were the form team in the second half of the championship last year. And that carried on to the start of the season with 3 straight wins for this guy. Down to Cochabana. The pressure's just simmering in this one. It's really just holding stations at the moment. It hasn't boiled over into an all-out scrap, but that Audi just starting to creep ever so closer. And what will Gennaro Bonafide have for Michael Stephen? So part of that side pod on Robert Walt's BMW has departed. flapping around so much now. And he's still running very strongly in this. So racing at this place, when you're looking to pull a move, it's important to get a run out of this corner. Beacon Bend, the slowest point on the racetrack, just 55 k's an hour at the apex. And then it's such a long run down. It's basically, all bar perhaps a slight lift at Potters as your tyres go off, flat all the way round to Kookaburra Corner. So you can get into the slipstream of the car in front and get a couple of extra tenths of a second as you tow your way up behind the car you're chasing, and that's what Michael Stephen will try and do. Here's Moss. I mentioned again the huge job from the Engen Extreme team just to get that car on the track, and he's been holding down second in the championship basically since this year kicked off. A pair of P2s at Killarney for Simon, really launched his title really well. Second year in GTC, he's second generation driver and a famous racing surname in South African motorsport. Right now Michael Stevens in the tow, just a couple of laps to go. His place held the South African Grand Prix on 12 occasions. It dates way back to 1934. It's one of the most famous places in the sport in this country, and it's turning on another beauty because the champion from last year is now right on the tail. In fact, he's alongside of the current championship leader. Stephen gets alongside. Moss has had his own dramas behind him and runs the car off the road. And now these two are wheel to wheel. It's a battle between Audi and BMW on the run through Butts Bend and into the complex. Michael Stevens got the racing line. He'll be on the inside, and he's going to get the lead away from Gennaro Bonafide. Car number one goes to the front in the reverse grid race, to the appreciation of the big crowd. Oh, and it's been a shocking couple of corners for Simon Moss. He's now spun and pointing in the wrong direction. So he had dramas down at Kookaburra Corner, and it's continued on. What a shame. Just talking about how his championship had started so well and that consistency. Well, this race all come undone for him. And now what's Bonafide got? Has he got anything left for Michael Stephen? I don't think he does. At high speed to 235 k's an hour before Potters Pass. It's a great corner. And Michael Stevens got himself in front of Gennaro Bonafide. It is setting the tone, I think, for the remainder of the season. It is going to be an all-out fight, not just between these two drivers, but also between the two teams that are involved. And then the Volkswagen squad will be buying themselves into the equation as the year goes on. Matt Hodges was a race winner at this very venue at the end of last season. So as Daniel Rowe gets stronger and stronger and gets more experience, as we return to circuits we've been to at the start of the season, the Volkswagens I expect to be in this game as Sasol GTC gets towards the peak of its season as the year goes on. Final lap underway now for Michael Stephen. Shocking start to the year for the 12-time National South African Racing Champion. But haven't they come back strongly? It's been an amazing performance, a great rebound for the Engen Extreme team. So for Michael Stephen, there's just a few corners to go. The reverse grid races in Sasol GTC have become something of a forte for the reigning Sasol GTC champion. He's made this his own, and after a few races where the rebels from BMW fought back, this weekend is where the Empire strikes back. The defending champions go back-to-back at East London. Michael Stephen does the double, and he is right back in championship calculations. What a performance. What a drive. Michael Stephen. Gennaro Bonafide led a lot of that race. He's home in second, and some penalties post-race have elevated Robbie Walt to the podium. That's his first in Sasol GTC competition. Well done to the driver of the 41 BMW. The championship looks like this. It's Gennaro Bonafide 239, place Simon Moss 203. But look who's flying up the order. Michael Stephen on 175 points. He's third with a lot of racing to go.
Yeah, that was an absolutely brilliant race. You know, starting last, we had to pick off the opposition one by one, but there were a couple of gaps that sort of opened up. I managed to make a couple of moves down into Copacabana and out towards the complex. And yeah, once I got to second, it was a bit tricky. You know, Gennaro had some good pace in the middle, and I battled a little bit in the beginning, but it looked like his car went off and my car came stronger, and he made a bit of a mistake into the final corner, which gave me a run down the straight, and you know, into Copacabana I made my move, and that was the end. Obviously, with Michael van Rooyen not starting helped us out, and I got into first in the first corner. And from there, I just put my head down. You know, it wasn't easy. We struggled with a little bit of pace this weekend. We were kind of there in qualifying, and I think we lost it for the race pace. But I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I could see Michael was catching me and catching me and catching me. And yeah, look, I mean, he had the pace this weekend. We got second. It's points, and that's what it's all for the championship.
Next stop on the 2017 calendar, we head to Gauteng for round 4 at Swartkorps Raceway. So come join us on race day, June 16. Thanks for joining us from the beautiful Eastern Cape. We hope to see you next time we go racing for the Sasol GTC Championship. Bye for now.